Hello there, welcome or welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Samantha, and this is my channel where I talk all about books. Anyway, today I'm coming to you with episode 4 of TBR Tackle. If you don't know what TBR Tackle is, I am trying to read my entire physical TBR by the end of the year, as I'm sure you gathered from the little intro clip that I made. But yes, we are trying to read my entire physical TBR by the end of 2025. And for the month of April, we are starting off with 32 books on the TBR. So if you remember in the last episode, we ended on 28. So we have indeed hauled in some books. There were some new releases I wanted to get. And I also got a book from a publisher and my book club book for April. Yeah, I had to make a couple purchases of some anticipated releases. So yes, the TBR did increase a little bit, but I did do an unhaul in March. So that definitely helped. We're still going down. We just seemed to go down more and have gone back up, but it's fine. Everything's fine. So yes, we're starting off this video with 32 books on the TBR. And for this episode of TBR Tackle, I want to mood read because I feel like I have been doing a lot of specific reading vlogs recently where I'm reading certain things, or I'm letting a spinner wheel control what I read, or I'm doing the buzzwordathon, so I'm trying to read certain books for that. Although I am massively failing at that. I think I completed January? Did I even complete January? I did complete January, and then ever since then, I have failed. Yeah, we're not doing super well in the buzzwordathon, but part of that is because I just don't want to read those things. I just don't feel like it right now. I want to mood read. So in this episode, we are going to mood read from my TBR, which I'm very excited for because the first book I'm picking, I literally cannot wait for. So I'm going to tell you about that in a second. However, I also want to tell you about the little twist, which you already know from the title. But for this specific episode, we are going to be doing the challenge of seeing how much I can read in 24 hours. So I don't mean we're doing a 24-hour readathon where I'm going to stay up for 24 hours and not sleep and just read constantly. I'm not doing that because that's not my vibe. I will get too tired of reading and burn out pretty quickly. So instead, we're going to do the timer method where I have a timer of 24 hours and we're going to see how much I can actually read in 24 hours of time. So yeah, we're doing the timer method. I feel like I'm over explaining. I have done this once before. Actually, it was this time last year. So if you want to check that out, I'll link that video up in the card. But yeah, for this episode, we're focusing on my physical TBR. And I have some options, although the first one that I'm going to read is definitely set in stone and I'm going to be starting this today. And that is Wrangled by Lila Sage. I'm so excited to be holding this book in my hands. Oh my goodness. I love the Rebel Blue Ranch series, which if you didn't know, this is the 4th and I believe the final book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, or at least the final book for now. Although I did just read Lila Sage's newsletter and it did say like this was the end of Rebel Blue Ranch. So that makes me very sad, but I am still so excited nonetheless. This book came out on Tuesday and it's currently Thursday, so I haven't had a chance to pick it up yet, but today's the day. I'm gonna go for lunch with my friend Evie, and on my way there and on the way back, I'm going to be reading this book and probably reading it for the rest of the day because I just cannot wait. And I read these books so quickly. So I think this is a good choice for the 24 hours. Like we can see how much I can actually read in that time. Some of these other choices, maybe not so much. We're definitely reading this. And now let me give you some options of things that I feel like I've been in the mood for recently, but we'll see if I actually pick them up. So maybe this clip is completely pointless, but I've recently just been thinking about these books a lot. So the first one I have is not the right book for this challenge, but that is Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. This is actually a bind up of the first 2 books in the byeeeee Revelations series, which is a book series that takes place, I think, 1,000 years after the Age of Myth series or Age of Legend. I think the series is Age of Legend. The first book is Age of Myth. So yeah, that series takes place first, then this, and then there's the byeeeee Chronicles, which happens after, I believe. And anyway, I basically read a little blog and Michael J. Sullivan himself says to start with the byeeeee Revelations. And I think it's like a little bit silly goofy, but also like high fantasy about these 2 guys who end up getting accused of murdering the king and all sorts of chaos ensues from there. So yeah, this is the bind up of the first 2 books and it is 650 pages and I would try to read both of them, I think. So this one might not be the best choice, but I feel like I've just been so drawn to it recently and I haven't read fantasy in a little while. So I think we might be picking this one up in this vlog. Is it the right choice? Who knows? I've also been in a romance mood recently, although who knows, Wrangled title might scratch that itch, but we will see. If not, I also have Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. I got this in February, so I did get this year, and I should potentially be trying to read more backlist things, but I don't buy a ton of romance because I'm very picky with my romance. But I just heard like good things about this series, and this is the first one in the series, and I always make the mistake of reading like the second or third one and then trying to go back and read the first one and then not enjoying it. So I'm actually starting with the first one for this one. I don't know what it's about beyond the fact that I think it's a new adult college romance. No, they knew each other in high school, but now they're like graduated college and everything and working, and they end up like meeting again. We'll see if I read it, but I feel like I have been in a romance mood recently, so I might be picking this one up. We will have to see how things go, but we will be starting with Wrangled. And then the last like option that has been on my mind recently is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. Again, this is freaking massive, so maybe not the best book to choose for a 24-hour reading challenge. However, I do also have the audiobook from my library, so I can listen along, which will probably make it go a little bit faster. I feel like I've been hearing a lot of good things about this recently because the sequel came out in March. Yeah, in March, I think. So wasn't that long ago. I don't hear a ton of people talk about this series, but everyone who does seems to love it. And I just have been meaning to read this for quite a while. Maybe I'll be reading this one, but who knows? What we do know is that right now I will be starting this and my timer for 24 hours and seeing how many books I can get off my TBR in 24 hours. Let's see. That's what this video is going to be. I'm going to go because I literally have to go put my shoes on and leave the house in like 10 minutes. I will chat to you once I have some thoughts on Wild and Wrangled. And yeah, I'll see you later. Oh my gosh, I feel like we're having a sleepover. This is so cozy. Hello, good evening. It's Friday. It's actually Good Friday today. So one of the Easter bank holidays. So I've had a very like family oriented day, and I don't know, I've just been overstimulated today and in a very bad mood. So after dinner, I took myself upstairs and I was like, I'm closing the door. I'm lighting a candle. I'm putting on Montana Mountain Vibes. Is that what it's called? It's called Montana Mountain Retreat. Relaxing country music and cozy cabin vibes. And that's the vibe I need. I lit a candle. Alex isn't even here. He's playing video games downstairs. I'm just at peace. And I'm reading Wild and Wrangled and I'm having such a good time. My day has turned around. It might be 10 p.m., but my day has turned around. In terms of the timer, I didn't really read that much yesterday. I think I read for an hour and 15 minutes. And I guess I've kind of done the same again today because I currently have 21 hours and 30 minutes left on my timer. Yeah, I've read for 2.5 hours. So I've also only read for like an hour and 15 today. But I definitely think I'm gonna get another hour in probably. I don't know. It depends how long the boys are playing video games for. But I am like almost halfway through. I'm on page 160 and I'm having such a good time. Oh my goodness. I love this. I'm not gonna lie, I've actually also ordered Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled. I bought Lost and Lassoed recently because that's my favorite one in the series, but I went to the bookstore with my friend yesterday and I didn't buy anything. I was so proud of myself. Did not buy anything, but I did see this book everywhere and it was like with the whole rest of the series and they just look so cute all together. I was like, I need to buy these. So I have ordered them. They will be at my house at some point. And then the collection will be all together. Looking so cute. This isn't about the rest though. This is about Wild and Wrangled. So I don't want to go into too much detail because you meet these characters in earlier books. Although I don't think it's like a spoiler to say who it's between. It is a second chance romance between Dusty and Cam. And Cam is Riley's mother. So one of the other characters in this series is Gus. And he is like the love interest in book 3, which at the moment is my favorite. Although who knows if this was going to take the cake. But yeah, Lost and Lassoed follows Gus. And Gus is the father of Riley. So yeah, Cam and Gus had this child together, but they are not together. They co-parent. They've never actually been together. They just happened to have a child together. And Dusty has always sort of been like traveling around, but he's actually come back to the small town and to settle down there. And they actually end up being neighbors. And so it's a bit of a second chance romance between them. And I don't want to give you any more information because I don't want to tell you anything else. But I'm having such a good time so far. We are like very slowly finding out what happened in the past. And I'm kind of enjoying the like slow reveal of that. Yeah, I'm just really enjoying it and seeing the character interactions with other characters as well. I feel like we didn't get to see Cam that much in other books. We've like seen her a bit, but I like seeing her interactions with Riley and with Gus and Teddy and like the conversation between that whole co-parenting situation. It's interesting and I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. I'm having a great time. But at the moment I don't have any more thoughts than that. So I'm going to keep reading for a while and I'll probably just check in with you when I finish it or maybe tomorrow tomorrow, just to let you know how much more reading I got done. But yeah, we are on day 2 of the 24-hour challenge, and I've only read 2.5 hours. So who knows how long this is going to take me. We'll see how much more I read today. I'm going to put Montana Mountain Retreat back on and listen and enjoy the views while I read my book. I love like an ASMR room or like an atmosphere thing, like a reading room. It's my favorite thing. I don't know why, but I just feel like I enjoy a book so much more if I have my little reading room on. Anyway, I'm gonna go because as much as these slumber party vibes are nice, I want to get back into bed comfortably. I'll chat to you in the morning. Good night. Hello, good afternoon. It's the next day and I'm coming to report that I finished Wild and Wrangled. I obviously loved this. I say obviously as if this whole series has been a 5-star series, and that is not the case. I actually have not given any of these books a full 5-star, but they are so close. Well, the last 2 are so close. I gave Lost and Lasted 4.5 stars. I'm giving this one 4.75 on Storygraph to be like precise, although everywhere else I'm going to round it to a 5. I say everywhere else like in my personal spreadsheets, plural, because I use 2 different ones because I'm indecisive about which one I want to use. So I do 2, and also on Goodreads it's a 5-star. The only reason I'm knocking it down is because there was like this issue with Cam's parents, and I feel like it wasn't fully resolved. Like something happened and I thought that we were going to come back to them, but we didn't, which is fine, but I just feel like that could have been developed a little bit more. But apart from that, I loved it. I loved it so much, which is so funny because I am not really a big fan of second chance romance, but I just loved this. I thought it just worked so well. I loved being back with these characters again. It really made me want to reread Swift and Saddled as well, and Lost and Lassoed. Not so much Done and Dusted. I feel like we didn't get that much of Emmy and Brooks, who are from Done and Dusted. They were definitely there, but I feel like they're not as like, I don't know, I don't want to say meddling, but yeah, kind of meddling as all of the other characters. So yeah, I feel like we didn't get as much of them. I loved this so much. There is a little bonus short story at the end of this, which is like 15 pages, which I am going to read, but I'm not going to count it towards the timer because obviously that's like an extra bonus. I'm not going to count it in my timer, but I just want to pop in and say I've read this, and I'm kind of sad that I've read it already because I'm like, this literally came out this week, and now like I don't know when we're going to get another Lila Sage book. I mean, we did get 2 last year, so maybe I can cross my fingers that we're going to get another one this year, but I don't know. And either way, it's not going to be in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, so that's very sad. It's like very much the end of an era. I mean, an era that only started last year. Well, for me, I don't know when Done and Dusted came out, but I read it in January last year, and actually I also read Swift and Saddled in January last year. So yeah, I've been with these characters for over a year now. I love them, and I'm sad to be saying goodbye. I would highly recommend this series if you haven't picked it up. Like I already said, Done and Dusted is my least favorite, and that was also her debut, so I feel like her writing style has grown so much since the first book, and I think it grows with each book. I do love them all. Even if Done and Dusted was a 3-star read, I still think about it really fondly. I am going to read this short story, but like I said, I'm not counting it towards my timer. And speaking of the timer, I read that book in about 5 hours and 1 minute. I have 18 hours and 59 minutes left on my timer, so I definitely think we're going to get 3 books done. We'll see if I can get 4 books done. However, I now need to decide what to read next, and I feel like I'm on such a romance high that I want to continue reading romance, which would be Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer, because this is the only other romance that I have on my TBR. I do kind of feel like I want to continue on the romance trajectory, but equally, I could read Swordcatcher, which is like fantasy romance, and that could also be really fun. And also, the problem with reading this is that then I don't have any other romance on my TBR, which means that in TBR Tackle, we will be only reading fantasy, which might be pretty intense. Oh, actually, fantasy, nonfiction, and classics. So that might be quite intense. I'm like, do I save this? Or do I just continue on my romance vibe? That's the mood that I'm in, but then this also has romance. I feel like I haven't read a fantasy in a little while. I don't know. I'm going to decide later somehow. Maybe I'll flip a coin or get Alex to choose. I know that that kind of goes against the mood reading, but I think like either way, I'd be happy with either of these choices. If I like think about it and one of these is calling me more than the other, I'll go for that one. But otherwise, I think I'll flip a coin because I won't mind either way. But yeah, we have finished our first book for this vlog, and it was wonderful. And now I'm sad. I'm gonna go read this little bonus short story just for fun, and I will chat to you later on once I've chosen my next read. Okay, Alex is going to choose my book for me, but he is being annoying and he doesn't want to be on camera. So he's going to be off camera, giving him the 2 options, and he's going to choose. You don't want to know anything about it?
No, that's red and looks nicer.
Okay, he doesn't want to know anything about it. He just pointed to this one. So I guess we're reading this next. Maybe this later. Who knows? Thank you, Amor.
Or do you want to explain the book?
No, not right now. Do you want me to explain it to you? That's what I thought. Hello, good morning. It's Monday. It's currently the day after Easter, but I am currently reading Swordcatcher, and I'm currently on page 102, which is only chapter 4, because I forgot about the fact that Cassandra Clare loves a long chapter, and I do not. I love a short chapter. Like, anywhere from like 6 to 12 pages is like the ideal chapter length for me. Like, my maximum is like 15. I can deal with that. I don't mind it, but anything longer than 15 pages, I'm like, this is too long. And Cassandra Clare loves to do like 25-page chapters, which is just so long. And like literally the prologue was 40 pages. I'm like, Cassandra, what are you doing? But anyway, I've made it to chapter 4. I'm also like listening to the audiobook at the same time, but this book basically follows our main character, Kel. Kel was an orphan, and basically when he was 10 years old, I think, he was taken to the palace for a little trial to see if he could become the prince's sword catcher, which is basically the person who's going to stand in for the prince in certain events where it might be dangerous. So if anything were to happen to the prince, it would actually happen to Kel. That's Kel. And then we also follow our other main character, Lynn, and she is an Ashgari healer, which essentially in the world where they live, which is called Castellane, I think. I'm literally listening to the audiobook and I still always look at the word and think, how do I say that? I'll listen to the audiobook again and try and commit it to memory. But yeah, they live in this place called Castellane, and essentially in their world, magic used to be a thing, and only the Ashgari had magic, but it disappeared when this event happened called the Sundering. I don't really know what the Sundering was. I don't know if it's been explained and I missed it, or if it hasn't been explained. But either way, the Sundering happened, magic kind of disappeared, but the only people who still have some small traces of magic are the Ashgari people, and they're also like the physicians and the healers. And so Lynn is an Ashgari physician, and their paths have not crossed yet, but I know that they will. And I think, if I remember correctly from the synopsis, their paths cross because they both become involved in this plot with the Ragpicker King, who basically, the Ragpicker King is basically like the king of thieves. He's kind of mythical, but he does actually exist. And I do believe that both of them get involved in some sort of plot with the Ragpicker King. And then I think there's romance between Kel and Lynn. But yeah, so far, not a lot has happened in the first 100 pages. But I don't want to complain because I do know that this is a series. And obviously, this is a lengthy book. So I'm sure a lot of stuff is going to happen. I just wish the chapters were shorter. But yeah, I'm currently enjoying it, I would say. Although I have to say, it does still feel like a young adult book, which is interesting because this is her first adult book. And I was expecting a bit more of a tonal shift, or like, I don't know, maybe like a slightly different style of writing, but I don't know. It is still very much feeling like a Cassandra Clare book, which obviously it is, but also feeling young adult, especially because I think the characters are only like 23. I don't know, they're still feeling very young. But yeah, apart from that, like, I am enjoying it. I just feel like there's also been a lot of terms that I'm trying to keep track of and struggling to do so. I'm obviously going to keep reading, and in terms of my timer, I have 16 hours and 54 minutes left on the timer, so still quite a bit, but according to Bookly, which is this app that I use to track my reading like as I'm actually reading, so it tells me like how long it's going to take me to finish a book and stuff like that. So according to that, it's going to take me another 10 hours to read this book. Well, it's just over 10 hours, so I think that will leave me with about 6.5 hours on my timer. So we're definitely not going to be reading 4 books in this video, but I will try and read 3 books in this video, and obviously we'll see how this goes. Yeah, who knows, maybe I will increase the speed of the audiobook. I am going to do some reading. I think I want to go for a run today because I was a little bit under the weather like all of last week. So I went to the gym on Monday last week, and then I haven't done any sort of form of exercise since then. I'm gonna go because I'm literally rambling and I don't have anything interesting to say. Hello, good afternoon. It's Tuesday. I'm currently wearing makeup. I don't know if you can ever tell when I am wearing makeup and when I'm not, because I still have dark circles under my eyes, even though I've tried to cover them up. But yes, I'm wearing makeup today because I have line dancing tonight, although I don't actually know if I'm gonna be able to go because my husband has a hospital appointment, and I always go with him to his appointments because English is his second language. So I like to go just to make sure that he understands everything, because, you know, it's not ideal. It's good to have some support there. So I'm going to his hospital appointment, and I don't know if I'm going to be back in time to go to line dancing, but I thought, let me get ready anyway. You know, I have to update the vlog as well, so you guys also deserve to see me not looking like a complete slob. Makeup is on today, and I've spent most of the day editing my Hunger Games vlog, which will be going up before this video. So if you would like to see a spoiler-filled video where I reread the Hunger Games trilogy and also read Sunrise on the Reaping for the first time, I'll link that video up in the card and you can go check it out. But yeah, I spent a lot of time editing that because I had over an hour of raw footage. Apart from that, that, I have been reading Swordcatcher. I'm over halfway through. Now I'm on page 311 of 604. So I'm like just over halfway. And I'm still not having a good time. And I'm so sad. I am just so bored. I am mostly a character reader. So if I love the characters, even if the plot isn't as good, I can still get behind it. But if I don't really feel anything for the characters, I can still enjoy it if it has a good plot. But I don't feel like this book has either of those things. I don't like the characters. It's not that I don't like the characters. I just don't feel anything for them. They're there, but I don't feel anything for them. I don't feel like they have a lot of like character to them, a lot of personality, that's the word I'm looking for, and the plot is just not very interesting. Like nothing has really happened, and I'm 300 pages in and nothing has happened, and I am so bored, and I don't want to continue, but I don't want to DNF because the problem is in all of my episodes of TBR Tackle so far, I have either DNF'd a book or I've said I'm going to be reading 3 books and I actually cut one of the books out of the video because I run out of time. So I feel bad for DNFing all the time. But equally, the whole point is to get through my TBR. And also the point of this particular video is to mood read. And clearly I'm not in the mood for this because I'm not enjoying it. So I think I should be allowed to DNF it. I don't know. I feel bad because I think a lot of creators will like power through and finish a book anyway. But I'm like, I'm not in the mood and this isn't going to be fun for anyone to watch because like, it's not going to be a 1-star or anything. I'm not like hate reading it, but it's not going to be any higher than a 3-star. And I just think life's too short, especially when I've already been reading this book for 6 hours, I think. I currently have just over 13 hours left on my timer. So yeah, I've been reading it for almost 6 hours and I still have half of it left. I think it would be more interesting for everybody if I give up on this and then hopefully I'll be able to fit in 2 more books, which the first one will definitely be Behind the Net because I think this is what I really want to read. I'm bored. Nothing has happened. Like literally nothing has happened. Please do let me know if you want me to try to power through. But realistically, I am reading to have a good time. And if I'm not having a good time, I'm gonna DNF. I'm so sorry if it's annoying that I keep on DNFing in these videos, but I am gonna DNF this book. I've read over half of it. I've read like a whole length of a book already and nothing's happened and I don't like the characters. So I'm so sorry. Just wanted to update you to say this is not it and we are DNFing this and I will be unholding it and I'm gonna be reading this instead. And I still have 13 hours left on my timer. So hopefully I'll read this one pretty quickly and then we can squeeze in something else from the TBR shelf. I'm going to go because my camera is flashing at me because I have in fact run out of battery. So I'm gonna go and I will talk to you later, hopefully with some good thoughts on Behind the Net. Hello there, good morning, happy Thursday. It has officially been a full week since I started this vlog. This is taking me a little while and I have about 10 hours left on my timer. Look at my cute background. And I have started Behind the Net and I've actually read a significant chunk. I'm about halfway through this book and I am having an okay time. I'm not loving it. I'm not hating it. I'm just there. And it is reading really quickly, so there's that. But I'm not like, oh my god, I have to keep reading. I want to find out what happens between them. Like, I mean, obviously it's a romance, so ultimately they're gonna end up happily ever after, I'm sure. But I, like, oh, I will need to know how they get there. I'm not like that. I'm not like kicking my feet, giggling. I'm just reading it. Part of that is because this is a lot spicier than I was expecting. Basically, when I bought this, I had only heard like a brief synopsis because I don't really like to know too much about books before going into them. So I'd heard like half of the synopsis and missed the second half, which the second half would have told me that this is spicy. But this book basically follows our 2 main characters, Jamie and Pippa. And Jamie is an NHL player and he is super busy. He's just moved back to Vancouver. He's got a lot on his plate. And so basically the coach is like, do you want to hire an assistant? We'll hire one for you. And they can basically help sort out your life, unpack, all that stuff. So he says yes. And they end up hiring Pippa to be his assistant. And Pippa already knows who Jamie is, not just because he's a famous hockey player, but also because they went to high school together and he was actually her high school crush. She's 2 years younger than him and she always had a crush on him and she thinks that he doesn't know who she is. And she turns up and he's super grumpy, but she really needs this job because she's basically just had a really bad breakup and she's living on her sister's couch and she's like, I don't want that. So she needs this job. And she actually ends up moving in with him and becoming his live-in assistant. And she's like, nothing's ever gonna happen between us because he can't stand me. But he finds out that her ex was really bad in bed and he decides to sort that out for her. So if I had heard that bit of the synopsis, I would have known that this was going to be spicy, but I did not pay attention to that. So yeah, basically they're trying to stay apart from each other, but things are happening. So yeah, it's quite spicy and I don't have a problem with spice in books. I feel like I just got quite burnt out on spicy books because last year I read a few books in the Chestnut Springs series and those are quite spicy for me. Those were like the spiciest things I'd ever read. So yeah, I read a lot last year, and I really, by the end of it, I was like, I don't want to read anymore. So I feel like I've been favoring more emotional romance books rather than just smut. I feel like it's trying to have some emotional aspects to it, but there is also a lot of spice. Although saying that, I'm halfway through and I've only just got to like a very spicy bit. I'm trying to read it with an open mind because I feel like oftentimes I read books like this and the way that the characters think, I'm like, that's just not realistic. But then I'm like, hold on, it's just not the way that I think. So I need to just be a little bit more open-minded about it. Be like, okay, maybe this is how other people think, just not how I think. Yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy it for what it is. I've struggled with the writing a little bit because there were some cases where things were repeated. Like, for example, part of the reason why Pippa wants this assistant job is because there's going to be a marketing position available soon within the team and they want to hire internally. So she wants to get into the company so that she can then get the marketing job. And that was sort of explained and inferred, but she didn't like outright say, this is why I want the job. And then right after she said, this is why I want the assistant job. And I'm like, I already got that. You basically told me that. You just didn't say it explicitly. And now you feel like you need to repeat it. Like, I already know. So that was a little bit annoying. Apart from that, I'm having an okay time. And I am planning to finish it today, hopefully, because when I read it, I am reading it very quickly and I don't want to put it down. But I'm also like, not like, oh, I need to know what happens because we know what's going to happen. But yeah, so I'll be reading that later. And I use this app called Bookly to track my reading. And it says that I have about 2 hours and 45 minutes left of reading. So I should be able to do that today. I don't really have anything else going on apart from the fact that I need to go to the gym, which is why I'm dressed in my Lifting My Best Life shirt, because yeah, I really need to go to the gym. And then afterwards, I'm gonna come home, have a shower, have lunch, and then I think I'm gonna head over to this coffee shop called Joe and the Juice. It is a chain, so you might have heard of it. Anyway, I am obsessed. They have the best coffee of any like chain cafe that I've ever been to. I'm obsessed, and I used to go all the time when I worked at the library because there was one literally like a 3-minute walk from my work. So I went all the time, and I would buy these loyalty cards where basically you pay for like 10 coffees or drinks. So I always used to do that, and I have one left over. So it basically feels like a free coffee because I paid for it so long ago. And they sent me an email yesterday with their new spring drinks, and they have a blueberry matcha, which I really want to try because I had a strawberry matcha for the first time a couple weeks ago and it was so good. And I'm like, I really want to try other fruity flavored matchas. I am planning to walk down there later, and I think I'm going to take a book and read because I used to do that all the time before I started dating my husband, actually. So like 4 years ago, I would just go to a cafe and read, and I never do that anymore. So I kind of want to do that. Although actually thinking about it, Joe and the Juice is normally really loud because they just love to play music really loud. I don't know why. It's just like their brand, I guess. So it depends how loud it is in there, but I think I will take a book, and I'm not going to take Behind the Net because I don't want to be reading those spicy scenes in public. You're going to be able to read it on my face what I'm reading. So I don't want people to know that. But I do have to start reading The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller because this is my book club pick. I have a little book club with my two besties. I feel like every time I talk about book club, I have to explain it. My IRL book club with my two besties, and this is our April pick, and it's the 24th of April, so I need to get on it. I can't believe there's only 6 days left of the month. That is crazy. So yeah, I need to get on it, and one of the girls has already finished the book. The other one is like halfway through, and I have not started. But it's only 350 pages, so hopefully I will fly through it and sob my eyes out, because apparently it's very sad. So yeah, I'm like not prepared, but also I'm excited to get to it. I think I'll take this one with me, but I won't be counting this towards the timer because I don't really count this as like my mood read pick because I'm not so much in the mood for it. I just know that I have to read it. So we're not going to talk about this in this video, but I will be reading it. Or should I just include it as my mood read pick? Maybe. I could do that. I might do that. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I'll see how I'm feeling later if I feel like this counts as a mood read or not. At this point, I am, in fact, just rambling to avoid going to the gym. So I'm going to go and work out, and I will chat to you later. Hi, I'm back from the gym. I've had my lunch, and I was about to go get ready to leave the house and go to the little cafe, but I have a package arriving, and nobody else is home, so I have to stay home. And I can't even have a shower yet because I just know if I go have a shower, someone's going to come to the door while I'm in the shower. That's just the way it is. And I've also had the realization that it's already like almost 2 o'clock. So by the time I've showered, got ready, walked down there, it's going to be 3 o'clock. And that just seems kind of late to be having caffeine, because I try not to have caffeine super late in the day because I've been having trouble sleeping recently and trouble getting up early. Like I just haven't been getting up early. And I need to get on track. So I'm not actually going to go to the cafe today. I'm going to try and go tomorrow and just get started with my day earlier because I was very lazy this morning. I'm going to make a matcha at home, I think. I'm going to try and make like a fruity matcha using frozen fruit and maple syrup and make like a little fruity puree to put in my matcha. And we're going to see how it goes. So that matcha was so gross. It did not deliver. I think the fruit that I used was too sour, so it was just not good. I thought I added way too much maple syrup, but clearly it was not enough. But on the bright side, look what just arrived. You don't know what it is, but I do. Because actually this book came out on Tuesday in the US, so you might not have guessed what it is, but I mean, you should guess. Oh my god, I'm so excited. It's the new Emily Henry, of course. Oh, it kind of matches Funny Story a little bit because I feel like Funny Story is orange underneath the dust jacket. Although the actual hardcover is this beautiful yellow. I'm so excited. This is obviously the UK edition, if you didn't know, if you're new here, because I feel like I've had quite a few new subscribers recently. So if you're new, hello. I live in England. So yeah. UK edition. I've heard very mixed things from early reviewers. I'm not going to be reading it in this video, but I will be reading it extremely soon. Although then I'm going to have the same problem I had last year when I read Funny Story as soon as it came out, and then I had to wait an entire year for the next Emily Henry. That's always sad. But you know what I can do in the meantime? Reread. Because I have not reread Beach Read yet, and I read that in like 2021. It was a long time ago now, and I haven't reread Book Lovers yet, which I only read for the first time last year. But it is my favorite Emily Henry, so I feel like that one definitely deserves a reread. And this one I'll be getting to very soon. I think this is going to be my book club pick next month. It's here. It's so pretty. And I am going to finally go have a shower because this was the package I was waiting for. So shower time, reading behind the net, I guess, because I'm not going to go out anymore. I need to do laundry as well. And then tomorrow it's going to be more exciting, I guess. Hello, good morning, happy Friday. I thought I would talk to you while I get ready because I'm getting ready anyway, and then that gives me something to do. I am just getting ready because I am going to actually go get my matcha that I was talking about. I am going to go do that today, and I thought that on my way I would go to the library because obviously, well, maybe not obvious if you don't know, but I used to work in a library, so I haven't been to my local library because it was not my local library where I worked. I worked at one a little bit further afield, and so yeah, I haven't been to my local library in about 2.5 years actually, because obviously I was working in a library, so I was there almost every day, so I didn't really feel the need to go to my local library. And also, unfortunately, where I worked, their book selection was so much better than my local library, which is so annoying. I'm not going to travel to that library just to get books because that is quite expensive because I have to get the train. Not worth it in terms of money or time. Obviously, I'd like to go and see my ex-colleagues. That would be nice. I don't want to go get books from there because then I'd have to go back to return them. So I want to go to my local library on the way, and it is on the way to the coffee shop, so that is perfect. And also I think my membership has probably expired because typically it expires every 2 years and you just have to renew it. I believe that my membership is probably expired, but either way I need to go in anyway because I need to change my name because I got married last year and I did take my husband's name, and if you have an opinion on that you can keep it to yourself because I totally understand all the arguments for keeping your maiden name, but my specific circumstance is quite personal, so I'm not going to get into it, but I really wanted to change my name. So yeah, that's why I took my husband's name, and actually he's Colombian, so in Colombia you don't take your partner's name. That's very strange. So he was like, oh, that's weird. Like, he did not pressure me whatsoever. This was 100% my decision, just to clarify, because I know that like there are a lot of arguments against taking your partner's name, and I totally understand, but I just always knew I wanted to. And I am still in the process of updating my name everywhere. It is very time consuming because you forget about all of the little things that you're signed up for where you have to change your name. A lot of places change my name, and the library is one of them, so I need to go in and get my name changed. I might as well do that while I'm on my way to the coffee shop. And last time I checked, they had Quicksilver, and I might pick up Quicksilver because I keep on seeing it everywhere, like in the store. I've obviously heard a lot about it already, but I keep on seeing it. Like whenever I go into a bookstore, I see it and I'm like, I want to read it, but I don't want to buy it right now, especially because it's only out in hardcover, and obviously hardcovers are expensive. I don't want to buy it, but if they happen to have it at the library, I might pick it up. That is basically the plan for this morning. And then this afternoon, Alex and I are going to go do this activity. It's this place called Clays, and it's basically clay pigeon shooting, but it's not actually actual shooting, it's virtual because I don't like guns. So I've never used a gun and I have no interest in ever using a gun. Yeah, it's just virtual and apparently it's quite fun. So yeah, it was my husband's birthday not that long ago and my sister got us this activity to do as his present. So we're gonna go do that this afternoon. Anyway, I also obviously owe you a reading update. So last night I did in fact finish reading Behind the Net. I was determined. I was like, I'm finishing this book today. Not because I was like, oh, I need to know what happens, but just because I was like, I kind of want this to be over. I feel like I was in such a romance mood and this has now scratched that itch and I feel like I don't need to read a romance. I can read other stuff, which is good. Because yeah, I think that was maybe part of the problem with Swordcatcher was I was just like really wanted a romance, but I also just, you know, didn't like that book very much. So finished this yesterday and I'm going to talk to you while I do my makeup. So I'm not going to hold up the book anymore. I thought it was okay. I think my thoughts didn't change that much from the last time I updated you on it. It was fine. It was, you know, kind of cute in parts. I feel like part of the problem was the tension was pretty good in a way, even though they constantly thought about how much they wanted to rip each other's clothes off. The fact that they weren't, and you know, some spicy stuff happened, but it didn't go all the way. So I feel like the tension was still there because there were still things that were like keeping them apart in a way. But then as soon as the tension broke, they were just banging 24/7. And it was like, okay, this is just really boring, especially because it was all the same. Like, I think even the wording was pretty much the same. So it got really boring really fast. It wasn't a third act breakup, which is kind of nice in a way. Although I think it was trying to insinuate that they were going to break up, but then it just didn't follow through on that. So it was kind of weird. It was just a little bit strange. So I rounded it up to 3 stars on Goodreads and also in my like personal reading tracker. But on Storygraph, I put it as 2.75, which I feel like, even though that's so specific, I feel like that is actually more accurate. So yeah, I liked some aspects and I thought some of the relationship stuff was cute, but I don't know, it just wasn't great. It was nothing special. If you want a fluffy, fast-paced, smut-heavy romance book, then it will deliver. Also, if you want a fight between some hockey players, you'll get that too. It was fine. It was okay. I have to say, I am curious to read the next book in the series because this is the first book in a series of interconnected standalones following different hockey players from the same team. So I am intrigued to read the next one because it's gonna follow Pippa's sister Hazel and Jamie's like ex-best friend turned rival. So yeah, it's gonna follow those two, and we did see a little bit of interaction between them, and I have to say the interaction between them had more chemistry than Jamie and Pippa. Like the 2 pages maybe of interaction that we had between them, I was like, I could get behind this couple. But if it's as smut heavy, I know I'm not gonna enjoy it as much. Oh, the second one's called The Fake Out, in case you have heard of that one and didn't realize it was part of a series. That is a whole lot of rambling to say that the book was fine, but I'm more intrigued about the next books in the series than I was about that specific book. I just realized I've done my makeup the wrong way around because I finished with powder and that doesn't make any sense. So I think I'm gonna have to redo my blush. This is why I can't talk and do this at the same time. I used to do this all the time, and because I'm out of practice, I've just messed everything up. Something I forgot to mention was that Pippa was like a musician, or she wanted to be a musician, and I feel like a lot of the stuff that happened with that towards the end of the book was so convenient. So yeah, I did not love that aspect. For some reason, even though I love music, I listen to music a lot. So you'd think that I also like stories about musicians, but I just don't for some reason. That kind of irritated me. I was like, ugh, shut up. And like there's this whole thing about her like trying to get past her like writer's block for writing songs, and I was like, I don't care. Anyway, but I did finish that, and now on my timer I have just under 7 hours left. So yeah, I have to choose another book, and I realized I was being kind of an idiot yesterday when I was like, oh, I'm not going to choose the Song of Achilles because I'm not in the mood for it. But I don't know why I'm trying to like make my life more difficult by reading an extra book when I know I already have to read this. So my next book is going to be The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Are we so excited for me to sob? I am. Yes, this is going to be my book club pick with my girls. I've already mentioned that. And so yeah, I need to read it. And it's 350 pages. So I feel like I could read that in 7 hours. I think that's roughly my reading speed. That's what I'm going to be reading next, but I'm not going to start it right now. I said yesterday that I was thinking about going to a read in that cafe, but yeah, I'm not going to go do that because I actually don't have time now because I've been rambling so much. This clip is like 20 minutes at the moment, and for what? What have I actually said of note? I don't know, but I'm going to go get my coffee. No, it's a matcha, not a coffee. I'm going to go get my drink, go to the library. I'll let you know if I pick anything up. Maybe I'll take some B-roll, but I've been so bad about B-roll for this video. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me recently, but I have just been not a B-roll queen, let me tell you. So I'm going to try and be better, and I will update you later, maybe once I've started Song of Achilles or when I'm back from the biblioteca. Hello, I am back from my little solo adventure and I'm just in the best mood today. Don't know what's going on. I don't feel like myself. I'm just so happy randomly. Yes, I had a lovely little solo morning adventure, though I have to say the library was a bust. They didn't have any of the like romance books that I was interested in or fantasy. It's just, I don't know, nothing was calling out to me, but I did update my name on the system and renew my account. So that's all done. And then I went to the bookstore and I didn't buy anything. I did have a little browse, but I didn't buy anything. Pat on my back for that. It was a grand old time. Then I went and got my blueberry matcha, which was good. Although I have to say, the first sip, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be so sweet. And then I stirred it properly because I think I hadn't stirred it enough. And then I was like, the blueberry flavor is actually lacking a little bit and it wasn't that sweet. It was still good. Then I walked back through the park and I came home and I just had a Beyond Burger for lunch. And, oh, I love Beyond Burgers so much. It's so funny because when I used to eat meat, which was such a long time ago now, I've been vegetarian since I was 9 and I never liked regular burgers. I always hated them, but veggie burgers for some reason are just my favorite thing. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just in a great mood. And we're gonna go out soon. We're going in like half an hour to this shooting thing, which will be interesting. I don't have any reading updates for you, but I just want to say I'm having a great day. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'll talk to you once I've actually started the damn book. Okay, hello. It's been literally about 5 minutes since I spoke to you last, and I said I will see you later. And technically it is later, but I'm coming to you now because the mail just came and I have a package and I did not order anything. This must be from a publisher. That's the only thing I can think of. So let's see. Oh, it's this. Oh my goodness. This is so funny because I literally saw this in the bookstore today. It's Beautyland by Marie-Helene Bertino. I requested this ages ago and I got it, and this is actually a finished copy. This is from Vintage. Thank you so much, Vintage. I love Vintage books so much. They send me so many books. So thanks, Vintage. You're the best. They're not watching this. So yeah, they send me quite a few arcs, but this is actually a finished copy. And yeah, I literally looked at this in the bookstore today because I was like, oh, I think I requested that a long time ago from Vintage and haven't got it. And I have. Oh my goodness. Oh, I remember. I might love this one. We'll see. It says, meet Adina, a gentle, unforgettable alien for our times, a companion to anyone who has ever felt homesick at home. Born as Voyager 1 is launched into space, Adina is a baby of unusual perception. Tiny and jaundiced, she reaches for warmth and light. As a child, she recognizes she is different, not least because of her strange knowledge of a faraway planet. The sudden arrival of a fax machine confirms her suspicions. Her extraterrestrial relatives have sent her to report on the oddities of Earthlings. As Adina makes a life for herself among humans, she starts to wonder, is there a chance there are others like her out there? Ooh, so yeah, this sounds really interesting about an alien coming to Earth, and like, I think there's going to be a lot to say about fitting in and humanity, and I'm excited. Thank you so much, Vintage, for sending this to me. I didn't think it was even going to happen, so I'm excited. This is always so fun when this happens. Anyway, that's a nice little surprise. This day is just an excellent day. Anyway, I will actually talk to you later. Okay, bye. Hello, friends. Good evening. It is Monday today, so it's been a few days. I think the last time I spoke to you was Friday. Oh yeah, because I was having a really good day on Friday. Literally the best day I've had in a long time. Anyway, and I was supposed to start reading the Song of Achilles on Friday night, but that did not happen because I came home from the thing I was doing with Alex and we were having a party on Saturday because my brother-in-law just got his British citizenship. So he had his citizenship ceremony and then afterwards we had like a classic British tea party. So yeah, we had like a bunch of traditional British foods and we did a balloon arch, which we had to make on Friday night. So yeah, when I got home, it was like the chaos of decorating, making this balloon arch, getting all of like the food ready that we could. So yeah, it was just very chaotic and I did not read. And then I didn't really read at all over the weekend. I've been reading a little bit of an arc that I have called The Friendship Fling. I started that weeks ago and I am just reading it so slowly. A little indication of how it's going. But we're not here to talk about that because that's irrelevant. However, this afternoon I did in fact start reading The Song of Achilles. I'm so annoyed at myself because I literally have had the whole day today. I went for a run. I made a phone call, which actually took like an hour, but I did the phone call, which was, I've been putting that off for ages. So I'm proud of myself. But apart from those two things, I have literally done nothing today. I've watched YouTube and that's pretty much it. Don't know why I've been putting this off because I am hooked. It's not that there's anything super intense happening or anything, but for some reason this writing today of all days, this has hooked me and I do not want to stop reading. But the problem is I'm going over to my sister's house to sort out some clothes for her because she's getting rid of a bunch of stuff and I'm gonna list them on my Vinted for her and she's gonna give me a little cut of the sale. So kind of a win-win situation, even though it's annoying for me to have to list them all. So I've been putting it off for like a month and she was like, come and do it today. Anyway, and then I started this and I'm hooked. I'm only about 35 pages in in. However, that is actually 10%, and I'm having a good time so far. Not too much has happened. I'm not going to go into spoilers for this, but I think it's not a spoiler to say that Patroclus has now gone to go live with Achilles, because essentially this is the story of Patroclus, and it says on the back, Greece in the age of heroes. Awkward young Prince Patroclus has been exiled to the court of King Peleus. Despite their differences, Peleus' golden boy Achilles befriends the shamed prince, and that's just starting to happen now. It's very sweet. As they grow into young men, their bond blossoms into something deeper, despite the displeasure of Achilles' mother, the sea goddess Thetis. But when word comes that Helen of Sparta has been kidnapped, Achilles must go to war in distant Troy and fulfill his destiny. Torn between love and fear for his friend, Patroclus goes with him. And I know that this is devastating, so I'm going to sob. I just know it. I've read it a little bit. I've only been reading for like 40 minutes, so I have 6 hours and 20 minutes left on my timer. It's not going to focus because it can still see me, but 6 hours, 20 minutes. And I use Bookly to track my reads. I think I've probably talked about this already in this video. And that said that I should finish in 6 hours and 7 minutes. So assuming that it does actually take me longer than that, because realistically it probably will, I should run out the timer with this book. Excellent. As I predicted, this will be our last read for the video, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a good time. Anyway, so I will be reading more of this. I am probably going to sit and read for a little bit longer because my sister's not home yet, so I will just wait until she gets home and then head over. Anyway, let's do some reading. Hello, good afternoon. It's Wednesday, so it's been almost 2 weeks since I started this vlog, so I need to get on it. But I do think that today is going to be the day that we finish the timer. I have 2.5 hours roughly left on my timer, and apparently, according to Bookly, I have about 2.5 hours left of this book. So it's happening. And we don't have a date confirmed for book club yet, but I want to get this finished ASAP. So ideally today, especially because it is the last day of the month. And it doesn't matter, but like a part of me is like, I need to finish a certain number of books in a month. And I don't know how many I'm on, but I think this might be 5 or 6. And I'm like, it needs to be 5 minimum. I don't know why. It's just the way that my brain has been trained from being on BookTube for almost 11 years. It'll be 11 years in May. How crazy is that? Anyway, so yeah, I'm like, I want to finish this book. Also, though, I am doing a social media detox this week. I'm not doing Instagram, and that really could have been its own separate video, but it wasn't like for a video. This is just because I was like, I've been spending too much time on Instagram. So I'm taking a week off, which I've never done. So I have like nothing else to be doing with my day. Apart from I really should get on some pre-filming and pre-editing of videos before I start my job. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I'm starting a job next week. In less than a week, I'm starting a new job, which I'm very excited about, but I was planning to do a lot of pre-filming and editing before I started. However, that hasn't happened, but I do think I'm going to do some filming tomorrow because tomorrow is a hair wash day. And the weather has just been so lovely that I haven't really been feeling like sitting inside and filming. So I've actually been sitting in the garden reading my book, even though I'm like not sitting in the sun, but it's just nice to be able to do that, you know? Anyway, so I'm gonna go back outside and continue reading this book. But I'm currently on page 231, so I have about 120 pages to go. And I'm enjoying it. I have to say, I think I was enjoying it more before. We are now in the war. It just felt more enjoyable to read because you were just kind of reading about these two characters. And now we are reading about the characters, but it's less about them and more about the war. It's just not quite as interesting. But I'm trying to hold back any judgment until I'm finished. So I will probably just pop in and tell you once I'm done because I think I'm just gonna go downstairs and read. Anyway, I'm gonna go read because I am rambling. So I will pop in once I finish my book and tell you how it went. Hello, good evening. It is the next day. I'm here to wrap up the reading vlog because I finished my timer yesterday. Obviously, like we knew I would. And I also obviously finished reading the Song of Achilles. And I really enjoyed this. I will say I think I preferred Circe. In fact, I definitely preferred Circe. I gave Circe a higher rating. Did still really enjoy this. I ended up giving it like a 4, maybe like a 3.75 to 4. I know that's very specific, but yeah, I did really enjoy it. But I think I'd seen quite a few reviews while I was reading it that said like as soon as they go to war, it gets a little bit boring. And I wouldn't say it was boring, like it was very intense and there was a lot going on, but it was just like kind of the strategy to the war. The fact that they go to war is obviously not a spoiler and, you know, pretty well-known story, I feel. It was very emotional, but I didn't cry, which I was expecting to cry. But I kind of feel like if somebody tells you this book is so sad, you're definitely gonna cry, then there's a part of my brain which goes like, I'm not gonna cry. Because you told me I was gonna cry, I'm now not gonna cry. I did not cry, but I did get quite emotional towards the end. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I really like Madeline Miller's writing style. It's a little bit flowery, but not over the top because I don't love super flowery writing. Yeah, there were definitely some beautiful lines in here, which if I were a good annotator, I would have annotated, but I didn't because I'm a bad annotator. I literally only underlined one thing. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm so glad I finally read it because I feel like this one has been on my radar for such a long time. This almost finished out my timer, although not quite. I finished that and I still had 27 minutes left on my timer. So I decided to pick up a book that I had started and then put down for a while. And that was Away with the Penguins by Hazel Pryor. I was reading this for the Buzzwordathon, which, little update with the Buzzwordathon, I am giving up for now because I feel like I'm already like choosing my reads out of such a small pool of books. So then I feel like also committing myself to reading books that fit a certain prompt is just really limiting the books that I can read, and I don't like that. It is not conducive to me having a good reading time, and I feel like I am just in such a reading mood, if that makes sense. Like I just want to read what I want to read, and I'm forcing myself to read books to fit prompts that really it doesn't matter. So I am putting that on hold for now. I think I'm going to try to like complete all the prompts within the year, but I'm just not going to do it like dedicated. This month I have to read this, and like I will double up on months and stuff like that. Just try to complete it by the end of the year, basically. This was what I had chosen for that, and I started it a while ago. And yeah, I read some more of it to finish out my timer last night because I thought it was going to be like 5 minutes, but the fact that it was like almost half an hour, I was like, let's just include another half hour of reading. So I read about 30 pages of this, and I've since DNF'd it. Oops. Yeah, I decided last night that I was not going to continue on because I just wasn't enjoying it, which is such a shame because it's about this elderly woman who decides that she wants to go see these penguins that they're trying to rescue and decide if she wants to donate her fortune to them for their research. And I love penguins, but it just didn't work for me. So I DNF'd this, but we're not counting this like towards this episode of TBR Tackle. I just read this to finish out the timer. So in that 24-hour period, I read a total of 1,421 pages, which is pretty good. It's not quite a page a minute, but considering the fact that I read some fantasy and some like literary fiction, I'm not surprised that my pace was a little bit slower than like a page a minute, but I'm still super happy with that. And also it took me like less than 2 weeks to do that. So 1,400 pages in less than 2 weeks is pretty good for me. But yeah, you already know what books I read, but I will go over them quickly and give you a little ranking. So the book that I enjoyed the least was obviously Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, which I DNF'd. I'm so sad about this, but I'm glad that I finally gave it a go. I just wish it had been better. Then the next one in the ranking would be Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. I think in the video I said I gave it like 3 stars, but I've lowered it to like a 2.5. That's kind of how I feel about it. So it was okay, but I didn't enjoy it a ton. And I do want to read the next book in the series, I think, but I'm not like rushing out to go buy it or, you know, try and acquire it. So this was a little bit disappointing, but not as disappointing as Swordcatcher. Then obviously I just finished The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, gave this 4 stars, really enjoyed it, would highly recommend, but it was not as good as the best book, which is maybe objectively it's better, like better written, but in terms of my enjoyment, my favorite book from this video was of course Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage, which I think initially I said I was giving it like a 4.75/5, but actually upon reflection it's more like a 4.5, which I know is not a huge difference, but it is enough of a difference that I feel like it's worth mentioning. But yeah, this was my favorite book that I read in this video. And I think we started off the month on 31 books on the TBR. And obviously I have removed 4 books from the TBR, but I did also haul in 2. So we're ending on 29. So will we ever actually tackle the TBR? I don't know, because it keeps on going up every episode. It goes down, but then goes back up. It's a little bit annoying. I need to be stopped, basically. We are slowly getting down. I think we started the year on 41. So we have decreased by 12, which is really not that great, but slow and steady. That is all that I have for this episode of TBR Tackle. It is currently extremely lengthy. I need to edit it and it's going to take me a long time. So I think this might be our longest episode yet. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give a thumbs up. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe down below. I'm posting one of these TBR tackles roughly once a month. So yeah, if you want to see more of them, you can check out the playlist down below and watch the previous ones and stick around to see what happens next. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end and you don't know what to say, please leave me the cowboy emoji down below for, of course, Wrangled. And that's all that I have. So I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye!